BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Quick warning before we begin. This episode contains strong language. This is, this is proper luxury, but I mean, this is looking out onto the sea. Oh God, what a house. Well, there's a security guard there. He's coming over.
Здравейте.
What should we ask? Hello? Yeah. We're looking for the house of Dr. Ruja Ignatova.
Търсят къщата на госпожа Ружа Игнатова.
Предност.
It's this one.
Yeah, okay. Do you know where she is?
I have no idea where.
Doesn't know where she is.
One family! You're amazing, guys.
In 2014, Dr. Ruja Ignatova, a business superstar, launched an ambitious new cryptocurrency called OneCoin. OneCoin promised banking for the unbanked, a financial revolution that could democratize money, and if you invest, you can become rich beyond your wildest dreams.
And I believe we are a very special network because we really act as a family.
OneCoin soon spread around the world.
She was extremely powerful.
Dr. Ruja looked unstoppable.
This is just the beginning.
Then, at the height of her fame in late 2017, Dr. Ruja disappeared. She hasn't been seen since.
We were warned for this. It was us against the world. It was us against the world.
I'm Jamie Bartlett. This is The Missing Cryptoqueen. Episode 2. The Bitcoin Killer. Why did so many people invest in OneCoin?
I've been called a lot of things.
It was partly because they believed in Dr. Ruja.
And probably the best thing that the press called me was OneCoin, who is supposed to be the Bitcoin killer. Well, I must say I like it. In 2 years, nobody will speak about Bitcoin anymore.
But they also believed in something else, a strange and exciting new technology called blockchain.
We will launch a new, more powerful blockchain than before.
Right, you need to understand what a blockchain is.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Oh, hello. You okay?
Yeah.
We're at the park with you, man.
It's notoriously difficult to explain or understand this, so I thought if I can get my mum to understand blockchain, it will probably make sense to everyone. My mum has no interest in technology at all. At least that's what she always says, but she does always seem to ask very good questions about it. I sometimes check things that I write with her first, and if it passes the Jamie's mum test, it's usually clear enough. So do you remember I was telling you about that cryptocurrency podcast I was doing?
Yeah.
And I said that I was going to write a description of this blockchain technology. I'm here at the moment with Georgia.
Hello, Georgia. Hiya.
And I was going to read it to you and then ask you to say if it made sense or if you understood it.
Okay. you read it to me, Jamie, and then I will do my best to understand. Right, off you go.
Okay. Why do you value the money that's in your pocket? It's because other people do. Money is worth something because other people think it is. Everything's about trust. So money, whether it's gold, Bank of England notes or matchsticks, only works when everybody else trusts it. Now, for years, people had tried to create a digital money that other people could trust, but it always failed. This is because, imagine if I created an online currency called the Jamie dollar, what would stop me from giving myself $1 million Jamie dollars or stealing your Jamie dollars for me? Bitcoin was designed to be a solution to this problem, and that's why it became so popular. It has a special type of database called a blockchain, and a blockchain is like a huge book And everyone who owns Bitcoin has their own copy of this book. So every time a Bitcoin is sent from me to Georgia, a copy of that transaction goes into everyone's book. People are excited about this because most normal databases, like an SQL database, has someone in charge who can change the entries. For example, me giving myself 1,000 Jamie dollars. But blockchain is different to normal databases because nobody, not the banks or the governments or the person who invents it, is in charge and can change it. It's run by the people who use it. Now there's some very clever mathematics behind all of this, but it basically means that Bitcoins can't be faked, they can't be hacked, and they can't be double spent. So when people hold on to this digital money, they can trust that it has some value. All right, that's the end. Does that make sense to you?
No, not really, Jamie, I'm sorry. Because I don't even understand the concept of how you where you would spend this.
Well, imagine, and rather than me saying I send my money to Georgia, and it's in the book, I could send my money to Tesco, and now it's in Tesco's account, and that's on the book.
Okay, but do places like Tesco's accept Bitcoin then?
Well, no, but they might one day.
So in the meantime, is this like a big experiment then? To see if it works?
Yeah, it does.
Is it being spent?
Maybe I need to work out a way of describing it better.
I think so, but try again with a different approach. You never know.
Thanks for your support. All right. Okay,
Bye,
speak to you
Jamie.
later.
Bye,
Bye.
Georgia.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mums, eh? This all sounds quite complicated, but by the end of the series, it will be a lot clearer. All that matters for now is that blockchain is what makes these cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin work. What gives them value is that they can't be deleted or manipulated by someone in charge. And that idea is making a lot of people very excited. For its fans, this is a revolutionary new form of currency that isn't controlled by banks or governments. And if you get in early, it's the chance to make a fortune. It's a heady mix of spreading financial freedom and getting rich in the process. And sometimes it's hard to separate the two. But because it's quite technical, a lot of people are put off.
The community of cryptocurrency is a bit arrogant.
Dr. Rouge's genius, as she said in this interview from 2016, was to take all of this and make it available to the masses.
So the idea was how to bring a good concept, an interesting concept, out to the people.
In Scotland, Jen McAdam, who'd made her first investment of €1,000 in 2016, was getting more and more caught up in it, watching on her account as her coins went up and up in value.
They appear in your account. You see these coins, you think, oh, it's like seeing 100, which I thought at the time, like Bitcoin. You're going, oh my goodness, they've arrived. And then they start to say, but it's really life-changing if you buy because these packages start from €140, then it went up to €500, €1,000, €5,000, and they all went up all the way at that point to 228,000.
228,000 euros for a package.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hence why I ended up buying the Tycoon package.
How much was that?
5,000.
So you went from 1,000 and then you spent another 5. How long after was that?
1 week.
1 week?
Yeah. And already there's been, through family and friends, but mostly friends, there's already 250,000 collectively we've purchased in OneCoin packages.
Wow. 250,000.
250,000.
Something isn't quite right about this. Jen could only buy these OneCoin through these strange things called packages. People can trade their Bitcoin for pounds or dollars on public exchanges, or even use them to buy real-world products. I've bought coffee with Bitcoin, and thousands of shops around the world accept it as a form of payment. But even though the price of Jen's OneCoin was going up quickly in value, just like Bitcoin's had, she couldn't actually exchange them into a usable currency or spend them on anything. They just sat there in her account.
This is Bjorn Bjerke.
Bjorn is a blockchain specialist who's worked for big businesses like Ernst & Young.
It was the summer of 2013. I had parental leave because I had gotten a daughter. And I used most of that rest of the year and most of 2014 trying to hack Bitcoin. I was unable to hack it, of course.
But Bjorn became hooked and started working full-time in developing blockchain technologies. And then, in 2016, he was approached by a recruitment agent with a curious job offer.
He said it was a cryptocurrency startup in Bulgaria. He was interested in, my profile and if I could fit as their global CTO, Chief Technical Officer. And if I was interested, and I said, well, what's the company's name? And he didn't want to say it. There was a lot of good things. I would get an apartment in Bulgaria. I would get a car. I would get a quite large salary.
How much?
And probably about 250,000 pounds yearly.
Wow.
So that was quite high. I was thinking, well, what is my job going to be? Like, what are things that I'm going to have to do for this company? And I said, well, first of all, they need a blockchain. They don't have a blockchain today. I said, what? You told me it was a cryptocurrency company. He's like, yeah, there's a cryptocurrency and it's been running for a while, but they don't have a blockchain, so we need you to build a blockchain.
So what are you assuming at this point? That there's a database that they have created, pretending to have a cryptocurrency, but running it through a normal database?
Exactly. I said, what is the company's name? And then he said, it's OneCoin. I called back Monday morning to tell them that I didn't want to take the position. This is right in beginning of October.
October 2016.
Yeah. And those dates are very important when you go back and see what happened to the company around that time.
One family. Today is really a very, very special day.
On the 1st of October 2016, Ruja was on stage in front of the whole community, releasing the new blockchain that they had made.
Today, we will be switching on the new blockchain. OneCoin will become officially the #1 cryptocurrency globally.
So what does this mean, though? On the 1st of October, she's up there saying we're releasing a new blockchain. Why does that date really matter?
Ruja's up on stage releasing the new blockchain, and 6 days later, I'm being proposed as their new global CTO to build a blockchain for OneCoin. I know they didn't have a blockchain. They couldn't have.
How serious is it? I'm trying to figure out how serious it is to say you've got a blockchain when you've only got a normal database.
If you put something into a database, that can be changed. You might have a log of the change, but you might also not have a log of the change. If you put something into a blockchain, you cannot change it, ever. It's like carving something into stone. It's an irreversible system.
So what does this mean then, that someone who's running OneCoin, what are they therefore able to do if they're just running all this on a database rather than on a blockchain?
They can control the system.
Does that mean they can manipulate the price and the trading and everything like that as well?
There is no price to OneCoin. It's just a number that Ruja came up with and saying that that's the price of OneCoin.
So were they just randomly setting price, just saying numbers, saying prices that people were believing represented the value of their coin?
Yes, exactly.
It's pretty clever. Don't you think it's quite...
extremely clever. It's extremely scary to me that someone would invest in something that they don't understand. If you're going to invest in cryptocurrencies, you need to know how a blockchain works. If you don't know how a blockchain works, you're never investing, you're gambling.
In 2016, after investing 10,000 euros of her own money and encouraging friends and family to invest 250,000 of theirs, OneCoin investor Jen McAdam received an invitation from a stranger on the internet. He claimed to be a good Samaritan, someone who studied OneCoin carefully and wanted to speak to people who'd invested. Reluctantly, Jen agreed.
OneCoin is not a cryptocurrency. There is no blockchain, and I can prove it.
Yes, there's a blockchain, Tim.
I can prove it to you that there's not.
Well, then prove it to me.
I'll fucking prove it.
I have never met anybody like that.
I don't give a shit. It's a fucking scam. It's a fucking scam.
The man was Timothy Curry, a Bitcoin enthusiast and advocate for cryptocurrency adoption. He believed that OneCoin would give cryptocurrencies a bad name and wanted to stop it.
For me,
this is the biggest scam in the world right now. Do you understand? It's the biggest scam in the fucking world.
The way that you're speaking, it's disgusting, and and people have to take you serious. Oh, come on.
And now I'm in a hotel room in Glasgow, sitting with Jen as she listens back to that message.
I understand what I'm talking about. I've investigated this damn OneCoin more than
Why are you laughing?
99.9
Because
every member.
he's so passionate to tell the truth.
What is your name? Is it Tim? Is it Timothy?
It's Timothy Curry. You can look me up on LinkedIn.
What's your correct name?
Timothy Glenn Curry. Curry.
I'm not even taking in what he's really saying. You know?
This man's trying to help you.
He's trying to help me, aye. But I don't see it like that.
I mean, how do you feel looking back at yourself?
Oh, so good. I just feel I want the ground to open up and because of what I know now. But that was me. I think I look at it and I go, who is that person? Who is that woman? And it's me. I didn't really know at that point still how blockchain technology worked. So he sent me loads of information through, which took me 3 months to eventually go through and digest it, to understand it.
So the things he sent you, slowly you did start looking at, you did start reading.
Oh yeah, Once it started digesting, then that's when serious red flags were popping up. So I started asking my OneCoin leaders, was there a blockchain? And I want answers. And that's when I get the voice message back.
Okay, Jen, is there a blockchain and where is it?
His words are read by an actor.
Yes, there is a blockchain. The reason they can't disclose it is mainly because One Life Group is a very big network and they don't want to disclose that kind of information, just in case something goes wrong where the blockchain is being held. And plus, as an application, it doesn't need a server behind it. So it's our blockchain technology, a SQL server with a database.
Well, I knew at this point the information that Tim had gave, I'd started to do my own research and learn more about blockchain technology. And I knew a SQL server database couldn't create genuine cryptocurrency. So to receive that voice message saying it was a SQL server database with OneCoin's technology at the back end of it, I thought, what? And I literally, my legs just went and I fell on the floor.
By this time, Jen was talking almost every day with Tim. Tim put Jen in touch with Bjorn, that's the blockchain expert you just heard, in case she had any more questions about the technology.
Bjorn was driving at the time and I shared this message.
Did he just say that it's a blockchain technology on an SQL database? He just said that. I listened to it 3 times. Blockchain technology on an SQL database? What the fuck is that? I just can't believe what I just heard. He said blockchain technology on an SQL database. That proves my point. Like, I mean, hello? Bells ringing.
You just mouthed the bells ringing bit. It feels like you may have listened to that more than once. That moment when you realise that there's no blockchain and the kind of penny drops that there's nothing here. This is just a fake currency. Just remind me of the date. That was...
So around about 5th, 6th of April 2017.
Almost exactly 2 years ago. I can still see your face when I just mention that moment. Your sort of shoulders fall and you...
I find it hard even to speak about it.
How much money did you think you had?
It was 10,000 in total. I invested gradually 100,000 euros in digital currency, so that's what the value was. Yeah. My friend didn't have any savings, and I bought her first package, and then later on she decided to get a loan and a couple of £1,000 loan and buy more packages.
So how, a couple of £1,000, I mean, what does that mean to her financially?
Oh, that's a lot of money. She don't have it.
So I understand it. Did you go actually out there to tell other people to invest as well?
What initially happened was it's just your friends, and then it spreads like wildfire, like Chinese whispers. I think of all my friends and family. It's $250,000, and I gave it to OneCoin. That money, I gave it to them.
Forget all the technical details, and it doesn't matter if you don't know what an SQL database is, because this is actually very simple. Every day, people from all over the world would log into their personal OneCoin account and see that they had 100 or 1,000 OneCoin. And they would check the price of OneCoin on the OneCoin website and watch excitedly as it kept going up. And all of that was secure, safe and trustworthy because it was recorded on this blockchain, so it couldn't be manipulated or deleted. But the coins were fake. The 10,000 euros that Jen invested, which she thought was now worth over 100,000 euros in OneCoin, was just a number that someone in an office in Bulgaria had made up and could delete just as easily. OneCoin is not a real cryptocurrency. It's just pretending to be one. It's fake, it's a scam, and it could be the scam of the century. We put these allegations to OneCoin. In response to our claim that OneCoin has no true verifiable blockchain, they said,
OneCoin has a particularly innovative system of a centralized blockchain. We can cite 2 expert opinions which have been drafted for years.
We've asked OneCoin for evidence that the blockchain exists. To the allegation that OneCoin is not a cryptocurrency, OneCoin replied,
OneCoin verifiably fulfills all criteria of the definition of a cryptocurrency. Its value is confirmed and reflects the constant worldwide trading activities, such as the Deal Shaker platform, one of the major global trading platforms, and elsewhere.
We will return to Deal Shaker in a later episode, but we have yet to see any evidence of it being a major global trading platform. To the allegation that millions of people around the world who have invested in OneCoin cannot exchange or spend their OneCoin, they responded,
As we've explained continuously, it is OneCoin's aim to expand the markets and the possibilities of OneCoin's fungibility. We are working hard on this each day.
Trading, OneCoin says, is slowed down by authorities, regulators, and, this is their word, haters. We have asked OneCoin for further proof or evidence against any of our claims, and if we get any proof, we'll include it later in the series. OneCoin does not deny that it cannot be traded openly, and it did not meaningfully respond to the question challenging the repeated promises to launch OneCoin openly.
I'm going to say this because it's important for me. My dad had died. He was 92. I only lost him the year before. He was a miner. Worked down the most horriblest conditions. And then he lived. He was 92. I cared for him when he was dying. And he left us money, and that's his hard-earned money. Oh, dear. And he was just a working man, a working class man. And that money that he left to me, I honestly thought I was doing good with it for my family. And I just feel as though I've let him down. For being so stupid.
OneCoin was only possible because of Dr. Ruja. Whenever we see complicated technology that we don't understand, we make a judgment about it based on things we do understand, like the fact that the boss was an inspirational, successful businesswoman. Dr. Ruja's magic trick was to use the hype and terminology of legitimate cryptocurrencies so ordinary people like Jen couldn't tell the difference between the real and the fake. We're looking for somebody, a woman called Dr. Ruja Ignatova.
Dr. Ruja Ignatova.
We're here at the Black Sea resort of Sozopol in eastern Bulgaria, where Dr. Ruja still owns a mansion. Do you know her? Sozopol was the last place Dr. Ruja was seen in public, on her yacht in July 2017. Do you know her? This gets mayhem. I don't know everyone. As soon as we mentioned her name, it just caused this great furore, didn't it? Everyone started shouting all over each other. And they've been speaking for like 2 minutes. I've got no idea what anyone's saying. A Bulgarian journalist called Nikolai Stoyanov, who's been investigating Dr. Ruja ever since she appeared from nowhere in 2014, has agreed to be our guide. Nikolai, you seem to be getting in deep here.
Yes, it's a nice intel. So, okay.
Tell us.
They said they never see her here with the fisherman's boats. You should go to the marina and ask there for her.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
According to description from around July 2017, Ruja Ignatova threw a big party. So the last publicly available pictures of her publicly appearing somewhere are from here.
We walk over to Dr. Ruja's gleaming white yacht, the Divina. At the stern, a Greek flag flutters in the wind, and we try to peer in through the windows, looking for any clues. And suddenly... I thought I just saw someone on it.
There is.
Okay, what are we gonna ask them if there's someone on it? Hello? Can I ask who owns this boat? Who owns the boat? Is he not telling us? Can I ask how big is the boat? I don't think he wants to say anything to us, does he? At that point, a man comes up to us and says he knows something important about that boat, but he asks us to turn off the recorder.
Let's do a little thing of what just happened.
Yeah, that's interesting, very interesting. He said he didn't want to be recorded because of mafia. So he obviously thinks that the mafia is somehow involved with her, which is admittedly a bit of a worry. He said the boat's owned by some offshore company. They want to base it in St. Vincent. It's currently registered in Panama. The owner could be some grandmother in a village somewhere and he wouldn't say. It was bought in Dubai.
And you know when we mentioned the name as well, her name.
Yeah.
I couldn't work out whether he looked nervous or trying to look intimidating. Do you know what? He was sort of flitting between the two.
You know when you get like a feeling, like suddenly you sort of feel like the mood changes a bit and suddenly you feel a little bit uncomfortable about being somewhere. I reckon we should be leaving. At that moment, the man on the boat phones someone and starts smiling at us in honestly the most sinister way. Who's he on the phone to though? Who's he on the phone? I wonder who he'd be talking to. Keep your face looking away. I'm not looking back over there. Come on guys, let's go. When we started recording this series in spring this year, we thought we were looking for a missing billionaire. But now we seem to be entering a world that's far murkier than we thought. Bjorn Bjerke is the blockchain specialist who turned down a job at OneCoin. You decided to sort of blow the whistle on it, and I just wonder what sort of comeback you've had when you've been speaking out about this.
If I knew what I had to go through, I would have never blown the whistle. I would have just turned my back and walked away.
Well, what sort of thing were you worried might happen?
Getting shot.
Serious?
Yes.
Who would do that?
When you talk about the amount of money that's been put into OneCoin, of course there's people out there that are pissed off and would do anything to shut someone like me up.
What sort of person would this be?
Well, then you have to start digging into who Ruja is working for.
Who do you think she's working for?
I can't discuss that. It starts to get very, very, very scary, very, very, very fast. It starts to get really, really bad.
Next time, our search takes us to Bulgaria's capital, Sofia, and we get given some startling documents. Is this what he gave you? All of this, all these files?
Yeah.
Jesus, 2 million euros invested from the UK in 1 week.
I've added these up, so from the 1st of Jan to the 5th of June, minus
So just
2 weeks.
6 months?
It's coming out as 29 million.
Jeez. 29 million euros. We're looking at a scam worth over 4 billion euros. This thing is bigger than we thought, isn't it?
I think so.
If you've been affected by any of the issues raised in this programme, help is available at bbc.co.uk/action line. And if you have any information that you think might help us in this investigation, please do email cryptoqueen@bbc.co.uk, and Georgia and I will be checking that email daily. The Missing Crypto Queen was presented by me, Jamie Bartlett. It was written and researched by me, Jamie Bartlett, and Georgia Catt. And Georgia Catt was the producer. The story consultant is Chris Berube, and Philip Sellers is the editor. Music and sound design from the amazing Phil Channel, and we're really excited to say that we have vocals especially composed and performed by Desislava Stefanova, and the London Bulgarian Choir, just for the missing Cryptoqueen. It is a radio documentaries production for BBC Sounds.
Como siempre les he dicho, lo mejor que usted puede hacer ahora es aprender, sí, educarse en el tema del Bitcoin y las criptomonedas. Si te gustó el video de hoy, recuerda suscribirte al canal, darle a la campanita para que sepas cuándo sale el próximo video, regalarme un like o me gusta como apoyo al canal y compartir este video con algún amigo o familiar. Así que nos vemos en el próximo video.